Now I'm going to assign oxidation numbers to the following. Okay, so I'm going to start with NO2. Now oxygen is always -2, as we said, so we've got two oxygens, two -2s. There's an overall charge of 0 on the compound because there is no charge obvious, which means that nitrogen has to contribute something that will balance that to give 0. So in this particular case, nitrogen is going to be +4. Oxygen will contribute -4, and -4 plus 4 gives me an overall charge of 0. Look at the second one, nitrogen and oxygen. Oxygen, of course, again, is, I've got 5 of them, and it's -2. There's no charge on the compound, so overall charge of 0. That's going to be -10. I've got two nitrogens, plus -10, which will give me 0, which means that two nitrogens has to be +10, so each nitrogen is +5. Hydrogen is always +1. Chlorine, we're not too sure of at the moment. Oxygen is always -2, and I've got 3 of them. And again, overall charge of 0 because there's no charge on that. So this will give me 1 chlorine plus 1 minus 6 has to be equal to 0. So chlorine has to be +5 again. Hydrogen's +1, nitrogen I don't know, but I've got 3 oxygens which are -2, overall charge of 0. That will give me nitrogen -6 plus 1 gives me -5, has to be equal to 0. So in this case, nitrogen is +5. This is an interesting one because the nitrate ion, remember, is -1. We know that, remember, from when we did our anion testing. We've got 2 of them, which means that this nitrate ion will give an overall contribution of -2. So calcium's in group 2 anyway, so I know it has a charge of +2. So calcium will be +2, nitrate ion would be -1, and I have 2 of them, that's -2. So in this particular case, calcium will be +2. I have 2 minuses from the nitrate ion, that gives me an overall charge of 0. So calcium in this case is +2. Oxygen will be -2. I have 3 of them. That's -6, contributing an overall charge of -1, which means the nitrogen again has to be +5. Potassium is in group 1, so it's always going to be +1. Manganese, I'm not too sure about. +4 oxygens is 4 -2s. Overall charge of 0. So that will give me -8 plus 1 is -7. So -7 plus manganese has to be equal to 0, which means that manganese will be +7. OH is -1, if you remember, from the ions and ion testing. So OH is always -1. I have 3 of them, so that means that's going to be 3 -1s. Overall charge of 0, so I have iron plus 3 -1s is 0. So in this case, iron has to be +3. Potassium's in group 1, I have 2 of them, so that's 2 +1s. I have 7 oxygens, 2 chromiums, I'm not too sure about yet. 7 oxygens are 7 -2s, overall charge of 0 because there's no charge on that compound. So that will give me 2 plus 2 chromiums -14 is equal to 0. So this is 2 chromiums -12 is equal to 0. 2 chromiums equals +12, so each chromium has to be +6. I've got carbon plus 3 oxygens, which of course are -2. I have an overall charge, however, this time of -2. So I have to put this all equal to -2, which means in this particular case that carbon -6 is equal to -2, carbon is equal to +4. In this ion here, an overall charge of -1, carbon is normally +4 because its valency is 4, so it hardly ever changes. So +4 plus nitrogen is equal to -1, which means in this particular case, nitrogen is equal to -5. And finally this one, 3 potassiums. Potassium's in group 1, so that's 3 +1s. plus, I know now what this ion's charge is. It's -1. I have 6 minus 1s. So iron plus 6 minus 1s. The overall charge in that compound is 0. So this becomes 3 plus iron minus 6 equals 0. Fe minus 3 is equal to 0. Fe is equal to plus 3. Now go to your textbooks. At the end of the oxidation reduction chapter, you will find exercises at the end of the chapters that you can practice on. So get on with those. Also try the ones in your notebooks, and we'll talk later.